starting. Going. Hi, I'm Maya. You can find me. You can find me as sjomajlin on Instagram or Revelry. It's the same spelling as them there. I am coming to you from a wintry, snowy Jönköping, Sweden. It isn't that cold though, so even though it looks as snow, it is mostly slush. And I have, excuse me, I have an appointment on Wednesday to get my winter tires on the car, so okay, so today is Saturday, the somethings, the 5th of November. Oh, my camera looks all crooked. Let's see if I can adjust it while I speak. That's not better. Well, as I got home from work yesterday, it was already very, very dark, so I wasn't going to record yesterday. That's not very much better. Because I wanted some daylight. And today we are, or I am, soon going over to my parents' place to celebrate Mom's birthday. She turned 65 on Monday, so we are celebrating today. So I thought I would get this recorded. I don't know that I'll have time to upload, and I know I won't have time to upload, but I might have time to start before I need to leave. So I sort of just woke up, threw on some clothes, had some water, and now we're doing this. So my voice mostly just is not awake yet, so I hope you'll forgive me for that. Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty much good. No! I just thought I would. Well, anyway, so let's see if I can do this without the item to show you. I was gonna bring a few sweaters over, but they're... Anyway, so someone commented and asked if I could talk a little bit about, because I did show you the purple sweater last week, if I could talk a little bit about how I do calculate, because I didn't use no pattern, how I calculate for the sleeves and for the stitch count. The thing is, I messed up on that sweater, and I wanted to show that. Anyway, so what I usually do, because I'm really not very good with making swatches, let's just be honest about that. So for the purple sweater, for example, I remember I had started it and gotten, you know, a bit into it, and I had to rip it out because it was way off. I think I just adjusted the stitch count and not the needle size, because I think I was happy with the denseness or the thickness of the fabric, but not with the size it turned out to be. So from that I recalculated how many stitches I should. So that was a bit of a swatch, I guess. You know. Then I did use my normal formula, which I've used a bunch of times, and it usually works out pretty good, which is however many stitches I cast on when I knit up down with a raglan increase, because I like how that knits up or down, and I like the fit of it, and I do like that look actually, or there's a good word, whatever. What I usually do, I'm not, like, I know I look super pale, and I am very, very pale because it's winter time and I'm a bit tired, but I'm not sick, even though I might sound like it. What I usually do is I calculate 1/6 of the stitches for one sleeve or for one shoulder, 2/6 for the front, 1/6 for the shoulder, and 2/6 for the back. And that usually works out just fine. And then when I separate for the sleeves, so there is this tip or trick that a lot of people do, that when they separate for like the body and the sleeves, they just knit a little bit on the body and then go back to knit the sleeves first, because then you don't have like all the bulk, I guess, of the body to lodge around in your lap. I've tried it and I don't like that. I prefer knitting the body first, and then, because when I knit the sleeve, so from this, I've hardly touched this. This is the Still Light tunic, where the body is currently on hold, and I'm knitting the sleeves to see how much yarn I will have left for the length of the body. But when I knit the body, I prefer to like turn all of the work around as I knit it. That's the wrong way even. Like that. I think you know what I mean. But when I knit the sleeve, I prefer knitting, and then just turning the sleeve like that, and not turning the whole bulk. So I prefer knitting the body first and then the sleeves. So that's why I knit the body first. So when I separate the sleeves from the body, my standard modus operandi is to add cast on a number of new stitches for the underarm, which I then pick up also for the sleeve. So with this pattern, which is a paid for pattern, it's the Still Light tunic by Vera Välimäki. Without giving too much away, you don't cast on any new stitches on the for the underarm. You just the raglan seam, if you will, just goes all the way around. That's not my favorite method, so that's not what I'm doing if I'm not using a pattern. However, for the purple sweater, which I was going to show you, I'll just have to sort of point at this sweater. That stitch count turned out to be way off, so I had to turn, or to move it about, so the raglan seam, if you will, goes to sort of there. And then I added a bunch of extra stitches that I had intended to be on the sleeve for this part, and then I split for the sleeve. Or for the sleeve. And the same in the back, so instead of that seam going, you know, sort of straight to the armpit, it is higher up on the chest and in the back as well. But that also worked out pretty good, actually. So it wasn't what I had envisioned it to be, but it turned out very good. But my standard recipe is 1/6 for each of the stitches for each arm and 2 for the back and the front, so 4 in total. And that usually turns out well. I was gonna hold it up, but there is the answer anyway. So thank you very much for all the comments last week, or on last week's episode, and all the thumbs up and all the love you've sent my way. Thank you very much. On to actual knitting that I have to show you. I did finish the cat I was working on, the parlor cat. I sewed on some buttons for eyes. It's called the parlor cat. I don't have the pattern. I actually did throw it out because I made a lot of doodles on it. It's called the parlor cat. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, so I'm sure you can find it. I did add this face nozzle, I don't know what to call it, from the pattern. The pattern is, the face of the pattern's cat was all flat, so I added this and sewed on, embroidered on a little face, added on some whiskers and some button for eyes. I mentioned I had done some changes because I thought it was like a errata in the pattern. Turns out it didn't work up, so I don't know. I corrected something that shouldn't have been corrected, but I still, like, I don't see how. Anyway, so if you see here, you can see the line of increases and decreases. There goes straight up into the ear, and there the line is there and the ear is, so it is off, but I mean, you wouldn't know, right? As for the color, whatever word I used last week, how the colors just flowed beautifully, I think it continued doing so, and I'm very happy with the result. I did change for the very tip of the tail though. And the tail, as well as the paws, are sewn onto the body, so it is, they're not flapping around. And, excuse me, the idea was that the cat was going to be, as a snail, to be like gliding in its own phlegm or mucus. So how do you do that? I needed a pocket, which is not supposed to look like, you know, anything else. And with the same yarn, so it's glittery and in a moss stitch and very irregularly shaped. That looks like phlegm or mucus, doesn't it? That the cat then can slide on. So you could, I'm not going to push it back, but you could sort of hold it and let it slide out from under the cat. Yeah, I don't know. And that's like an inside family joke. I'm not gonna try to explain it, but my nephew wanted a cat that glides on its own phlegm, mucus, whatever the word is, as a snail. Anyway, so, and then you can just tuck it back in so the cat, it doesn't show when the cat is just lounging about. So I'm happy with that. That's the, let me see, yes, that's the only finished object I have done this week, except for some more of these. I think two. I think I've done these two of these crocheted squares that are gonna be coasters. I think I did two. Excuse me. I have a hoe. I decided to knit socks for someone in my family with big-ish feet for Christmas, so I have a hoe. I need to weave in the ends. I mean, come on. But I did knit this with thicker yarn on 3.5mm needles, so it knits up pretty quickly. Let's see if I can grab a sock blocker from over here, which is way too small obviously, but you'll see the it's something like that. So it's a regular heel flip and gusset, ribbing all the way, warm woolly sock. No! I've started the second one. I'm knitting with DPNs, with my carbons, and did I say they were 3.5 mils? I think I said that. Anyway, they are 3.5 mils. So I'm working on the second one. And the yarn is called Raggsocksgarn from Garngrossisten i Mark AB. I don't even know. It's 70% wool, 30% polyamide, and it says it is machine washable. It doesn't say it is super wash, but it says it is machine washable, so I don't know. So I'm working on that. So that's a hoe. Okay, big announcement. Not really. I'm not pregnant. I'm not. Some of my friends are though, so there will be baby knits coming up. 2 or, well, 4, if you will, of my good friends are expecting. So over the, well, a few weeks ago now, I knitted a little hat with a, it's not a, pom-pom. It's not a pom-pom for the top, but it is a little thingy. So a little hat and a tiny little pair of socks, which are just tied together with a length of yarn. So a pair of little socks for one of the babies. So if you happen to be one of my expecting friends, I don't know, act surprised. I am also working on, so this is also sort of a hoe, I guess. Can't you see? So this is the drops version of the, Baby Surprise jacket, is it? This pattern is unnamed, but it is free on drops, so it looks like this. I printed the pattern in Swedish, but it's available in English as well. It's free on their website. Although it is written as the drops patterns usually are, as in someone was definitely not sober when they wrote it down. Anyway, and I was the original pattern seems to be really hard to come by, so I chose to use this. So you do knit the pattern from the sleeve and halfway up to the middle, and then it asks you to bind off for the center back, and then as you knit the other half, and again this is the drops free pattern. I don't know how the original is constructed, which is a paid for pattern, so I'm not giving that away, at least not consciously. The drops free pattern asks you to bind off in the middle back, and then when you knit the other half, excuse me, you're supposed to seam them up, which is good, of course, and it tells you explicitly to make sure that the seam is not too bulky, because it's going to be in the middle back, and for a baby that can be quite uncomfortable. So I decided to put the stitches on a straight needle for now. So I'll do, when I do the second one, I'll do a 3 needle bind off, because that is very flat. So this is just hanging out for now, but you do knit, as I said, you knit from here, from the sleeve towards the middle, and then for the front, this needs a good block, but for the front of the cardigan you make this, it is sort of a raglan increase there as well, which makes the front panel. The pattern asks you to, or tells you to, continue knitting the back, bind that off, and then pick up here again. So it asks you to put these stitches on hold first. I decided, because I'll show you the yarn in a minute. The yarn is graduating. So I wanted the gradation to flow for the front panel, and to then, because I just continued on where I were, I didn't rip out or anything. I'd rather have this break, if you will, color-wise, in the back. So that's what I did. So this is halfway there. I haven't started the second half yet, but I will. I'm knitting this on, 3mm needles. I'm knitting the smallest size, which is supposed to be 0 to 3 months. I don't really remember how big or small a baby is, but I think this looks, so this is half, I mean this looks kind of big to be for a newborn anyway, but a 3 month? I have no idea. And actually, to be honest, I haven't checked my gauge against the pattern. The yarn, however, that I'm using is called Elise. It's from Järbo, so it's a Swedish brand. It is 60% cotton and 40% acrylic. It's very soft, and the idea is that it is washable, you know. So it's 100 gram per skein and 330 meters. So it is, I don't know what weight yarn that is, but it works out fine with on 3 mils for me anyway. And I don't know if you saw, it is in garter, so it is do you understand what I mean if I say that garter is fluffy in itself, you know? Let me just check on time. Okay. I've also been working on, I haven't, this is so boring. I am knitting an I-cord around my earphones. And it is let's pull out that one. I have 4 stitches of the needle, and then for each pass of the, you know, when you push the stitches back and you do it again, you need to make sure that you circle the cable, or what is it called? Like the actual earphone with the yarn, and it is so slow and it's so boring. But I like the result, how it becomes. So if you can see in the back, there is some laddering compared to the front. That's where I pull the yarn around the cord. Cord is a good word. But I think that will, I mean, that won't bother me. And I think, you know, with some like stretch, and because I want to knit from sort of this distance from the end of it, so I'm knitting and then I'm pulling it up the length of the cord, so I am, you know, sort of stretching and scrunching it up and stretching it out, so that will even the laddering out quite a bit actually, compared from down here to up here. I don't think it will show up on camera. So I've been working on this. It's super slow, it's super tedious, I don't like it at all. But it will be worth it. This is the yarn from Zazu Yarns that I knit a pair of socks out of recently. No! I just dropped it on the floor. This colorway is called Neptune. It is a regular sock yarn. 75% merino, 25% nylon. 400 meters, 100 gram. And this is, I had a lot left over because I knit shorty socks. So this is, I'll obviously I'll obviously want to make something else with this yarn as well, but this is the first like leftover project I'll make with it. Yes, what else do I have? Yes, I want to talk about this, because I totally didn't have time to do that last time. I am, and I don't believe it's called hooking in English, but we say that in Swedish, sort of, Tunisian crochet. You can call it krokning in Swedish, which should be pretty much hooking, I guess. It looks like this. This is going to be a cowl. It is worked in the round, so I do have, it looks like a regular crochet hook, but it is attached to this cord. So this is also from Knit Pro, the brand. So you can use them with your interchangeable sets of cords and or cables, or so I have 2, 1 in each end. So I'll work so in this right here I'll pick up stitches. This was hard. This was really hard to show. I'll pick up the reddish pinkish stitches this way with this end, and then I'll pull it through to pull up this hook, and then I'll work the black stitches back the same direction, because I'm working in the round. And I think Tunisian crochet makes more sense worked flat. Anyway, so this is going to be a cowl. For those of you who might not have heard about Tunisian crochet before, the fabric is very, very stiff. It doesn't have very much give at all. But it is also kind of nice, and you make these sort of I don't know what word I'm looking for. But it looks kind of good. I like it. So the black yarn is just like a regular yarn. The other yarn, however, is from a sock blank, which is gradiating throughout, and it is a single, you know, it's not a double. So if I were to knit socks with this, for example, they would be very much mismatched, because it doesn't repeat the colors. So I decided to do, you know, something else with it. So I decided to make this. So the colors, however, are pretty long in this. So I am working up this reddish pink, but pretty soon it will gradiate into blue. I probably won't, or I don't know actually, but I probably won't get to the green and the yellow in this project, but we'll see. So also the color right here is it's not 100% solid, which you can also see. It is sort of variegated, so I choose to have that on top. You can reverse it obviously and have, so in this case, the black on top, and the other parts would shine through as well, which would look very cool. This is the back. For anyone who has no idea what this is, it might be very interesting to see. So it is, you have a bunch of live stitches going. So it's not like, so it's it's similar to knitting in that way, but you work the stitches almost like crocheting, and you do, or you can work down, like you can pick up, you know, 100 stitches and then work down till you have just one live stitch and then pick up new ones. So that's not just like knitting, because you have, you know, sort of a set number of live stitches at any point. But yeah, I did not know that Knit Pro had these crochet hooks, if you will, available with the joints so that you can add them on. Until I knew, obviously, but I was surprised and delighted to find that. So I think these are 3mm, and they are some sort of wood. They might be bamboo, and I know bamboo isn't technically wood, but in my crafting tool mindset, bamboo is a type of wood. Anyway, I'm working on that. This usually sort of lives in my kitchen, so I'll work just a few stitches while I eat breakfast, so that it's growing super slow, but that's okay. I did show ever so quickly the Stila tunic. I've just like done 3 rounds or something on the sleeve. Time is running out! I'm also working on the shawl. The Clapoctus. I had it on like a cafe made up thing where I was the only one who knitted. Clapoctus. So it is a mix between the Clapot and the Bactus. I don't know if you can see that there. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's very good. I was the only one who knitted, and although it's not hard, but you can see it is sort of a rib sort of a rib, and I had to knit backwards. So then I put it back in its project bag and I said, shame on you. Now think about what you've done. And it didn't knit anymore on it. As one does, right? Yeah, that's it. Time's up. I'll go celebrate my mom. No, I'll have some breakfast first. And then I'll go celebrate my mom. And I will talk to you next time. So please do take care, be kind to yourselves and to one another. Be safe if winter is also coming to where you live and you're not prepared. The traffic can be awful, speaking from experience. So make sure to be whatever. Have a good time. I'll see you next time. Bye.